Reminder, please come back to the room like 5-10 minutes before we start. It will help us a lot.
欢迎大家回来，请大家提前就坐好，我们的课程马上即将开始。
Please take your seats.
好，大家请尽快就坐。
Welcome back. We hope you have a nice lunch. And welcome back to our program, Bridge to Diamond Way, Asian Summit.
欢迎大家回来，希望大家已经用过了一个美好的午餐。欢迎来到我们的金刚秤之桥的活动。
Just to mention that we have a streaming now, and we are welcoming all our participants online. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our classes.
我们提醒一下，现在我们已经是在全球直播，所以大家可以跟线上的同学们 say hi.
Hi.
This is our catch-up classes for Diamond Way, and this is review class from Geshe Michael teaching previous time.
今天的金刚秤之桥的课程是源自于格西老师在多年前的非常原汁原味的精髓的教授。
We hope you take seats and everybody is ready. So those classes, we're going to review what Geshe Michael taught before, and we welcome our amazing teacher. But before we invite him on the stage, let us introduce him.
今天下午的课程将会去复习格西老师所教授的精华内容。但是在介绍我们的下午的老师之前，我们想要先介绍一下这位老师是谁。大家好不好奇
This is our amazing teacher being with us for a long time, Anatole Nguyen.
今天我们的非常酷炫的老师，他的名字叫 Anatole.
Anatole, being from a small city, south part of America.
Anatole 老师来自美国南部的一个小镇。
He's a long life searcher for freedom and meaning through music, healing art, and deep courses of understanding this life.
他用终身去追求关于自由的含义，关于生命的终极的意义，还有音乐，是一个爱好非常广泛的老师。
And please let us introduce again Anatole Nguyen and invite him on the stage and have a class with him. Let's welcome him. Thank you.
让我们掌声热烈欢迎 Anatole 老师。
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. No translation, right? It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to see you all here. I've been very excited to think about this moment. And here we are at the culmination of this preparation we call Bridge to the Diamond Way. And I thought I would tell you a little bit about myself, which is not my favorite thing to do, but let me see. I did bring. Okay, so we're gonna cover this book. This is our root text for this course, and I think there's some copies out there in the book table from the Diamond Cutter Press. Maybe some of you have picked up books already. Recently, I got to read a lot of the books for the press. I got a position as an editor. And so I really have been enjoying these books a lot. And I really, if I can recommend something to you or help you in some way, I think one of the most beneficial things I could say is try to pick up some of these books. and try to keep them close to you and keep them by your bed. That's what I do. And read them from time to time. So it's very exciting for me to cover this book. What else can I say? In a way, my life has been like a whirlwind lately because like I said, I've been getting sort of deeper into studying these books directly. I met Geshe Michael many years ago, like more than 20 years ago, and I was mostly just listening to the classes, but I didn't. I shouldn't tell you this, but I didn't do too much reading, and I didn't do very many homeworks. But I did listen a lot, and I listened very carefully. And so I guess the seed started to open, and I got a chance to examine the books more deeply. So now I get to sort of check every word of the book. And so anyway, I'm very excited to expose you a little bit to this book. And it's by one of my heroes these days. It's called Tsongkhapa. So I went ahead and made a little collage. I don't know if that photo reached the tech table yet, but anytime you have the photo, you can put it up. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so this is the book, kind of blown up, and I really like the painting, which was done by Geshe Michael's stepson. His name is Kazo, and he did a lovely painting of Tsongkhapa. And the moment I saw the painting, I felt like it looked just like my brother, and I felt very much like it was a painting of my brother, which is really cool because he was he was maybe one of my first teachers. He taught me, I remember very clearly, growing up in that small town, he taught me the days of the week, how to do math, everything. I mean, he really taught me everything. So this is an old picture of us that I found today, and it's from an old Facebook post about 5 years ago. And my brother is the one on the left. I don't know if you see the resemblance, but we're going to talk about it today, actually. But he really looks like Tsongkhapa to me. And then, of course, that's baby Anatole, not 5 years ago. It's an old photo. But that's me on the right. I'm about 25 or something like that. Oh, yeah, I'm on this side, to the right. And so anyway, this is a very special book. And I think it's very appropriate that our teacher, Geshe Michael, chose this book to sort of give us a bridge to the Diamond Way. So I don't know if I can really transmit this to you, but we had classes before this one. This is the number 6. We're on number 6, so I'm covering the first classes, the first series, because this is catch-up class, right? So anyway, lately, because our teacher Geshe Michael has been sharing with us, that he has a, well, we heard it this morning, right? He has a situation in his kidneys, and he's. I had a meeting with him when he told me about it. I met with him in Mexico about 2 years ago, and we sat down on a couch, and he sat with with me me and my wife and my son. He sat with us for about 3 hours on the couch, and I just kept thinking, like, I haven't seen him for a whole year, and I kept thinking, how does he have 3 hours to talk to me? I just couldn't understand, he just, sat me down. But the gist of the essence of the talk was, he said, what Buddha ever came to this world and didn't teach impermanence? What Buddha ever came here and didn't teach that things don't last? So he said, I'm going to teach it. And then he started to tell me about his kidney, and that we don't know how much time is left for it, and that he would start sharing with people in a more open way his experiences, his realizations. So then I was reviewing the classes, and it's a very important idea that he expressed, which is we don't really know if someone tells us that they have seen emptiness directly, they've touched the diamond world, there's actually no way for us to be able to know that. There's no way that you can. He said, I've seen emptiness, but I cannot prove it to you. Actually, I'm incapable. There's no way I can actually, in this moment, prove to you that I've had this most important understanding in a human lifetime. I've had this experience, and there's no way I can tell you about it. I can prove it to you. And then he also said that there's also no way that you can prove that I haven't had this experience. So you're sort of in a situation where there's two situations going on, right? There's your situation or my situation where we have a teacher who's trying to let us know that they understand something, but they also let us know that there's no way that they can just make us understand what they understand, or even that they do understand themselves. They cannot prove it to us that they understand. And it's quite kind of a challenge, right? Because I would say many of us in this room have met Geshe Michael before, and we've spent a lot of time with him. And the reason that we're here is because we do believe that he is a higher kind of understanding. He has a higher kind of viewpoint of the world, completely higher than people who don't, like me and you, for example. So then we're here because we believe that he has this understanding. And yet the first thing he says is, prove it. Prove that I have understood these things. And we're at a loss. According to him, we cannot know that what he understands. The audience next door is clapping. No coincidences, by the way. At the same time, it's pretty much impossible for any of us to prove that he hasn't had this experience, because how should I say? One time I went to the airport, and I was coming back into United States. I was traveling, and they asked me to present my ID, and then I showed my license, and I look different very often, so I don't know, my hair changes, or so anyway, they looked at the photo and they said, "That's not you." And usually I feel a little nervous when I go through the customs. I don't like to be questioned, but in this case, I felt very. It's fine that they don't know it's me, but it's not a problem for me. So I said, "Well, it is me actually," and then they said, "No, it's not you." And I said, "Well, would you like to see another identification?" And they said, "Yes." So I gave them a second ID, and they said, this is also not you. This is, and I said, well, that's fine for you. And then I said, would you like, I actually have a third picture ID, photo ID. And so would you like to see that one? And they said, yes, you need to show me another ID. So I gave them the third one. And they said, this as well is not you. Maybe it was a teaching, I don't know. But anyway, they said, none of these are you. And then, then I just got this kind of wonderful feeling that, that they had nothing, how to say, in English we say, you got nothing on me, like they really, the truth will come out, so they said, you need to go to the back. You need to go to the back and you need to, get interviewed and, while you're trying to break into the United States or something. So I went to the back and I was sitting there very confident in my own identity. And then there was a really, I never forget, it was in New York actually, and there was this really sweet black lady, and she said, so what's your job? And I said, I don't know exactly. I do different things. And she says, that's fine, honey. That's okay. So I said, good, good. And she said, where do you live? And I said, well, because I know this question. I tried to open a bank account at that time, and I got the same thing. Where do you live? And at the time, I didn't have a permanent place. So I said, well, to be honest, I don't really live anywhere. And she said, baby, that's all right. That's all right. And then she said, you can go. So then what our teacher said, what Geshe Michael said is, I have this feeling, just try to imagine. I think it's a whole meditation. And we can have it as I'm supposed to give you a homework assignment. And this one is a nice one, I think, come to think of it, is let's try to imagine, we can talk it out with each other, like during your breaks, try to find someone and try to imagine what it feels like to be someone, to have a certain identity, and nobody knows who you are, and nobody can verify who you are. I got through it. I met the kind black lady, and she was an angel, right? And she said, baby, it's fine, I know who you are, But in Geshe Michael's case, there's a situation where nobody can confirm, or it's very extremely difficult, rare. Or he said, I just don't feel like anybody can confirm who I am, and I'm okay with it. I'm used to it. So he said, I had this experience of emptiness when I was 22 years old, so 51 years ago, and ever since then, I think of the story of the Buddha, and I don't know if you know, but there's a famous story of the Buddha when he becomes enlightened under the tree, under the Bodhi tree, and he says he walks around the tree for 49 days, something like that. I think he walks around the tree for a long time because he supposedly can't imagine how anyone would understand this path, this achievement that he's done to overcome death itself and to be able to help the world. He's just walking around the tree for 7 weeks, trying to imagine what's going to be his first teaching and how people would ever understand it. So Geshe Michael said to us in the first classes of this course, he said, I feel the same. I really identify with this. I had this experience. I know I had this experience. I know what happened to me, and yet I don't know what to say to people about. I don't know if anyone would understand. So we may not be at that level of realization, but you have something similar, and that's why I think it's going to be pleasant, or how to say, it's going to be wonderful when you start to talk to each other about what it feels like to know something, and to know that the people around you, they won't understand it. They won't be able to get it. So, like I said, it's even before you have this extremely highest realization. Just when you read one of these books, just when you pick up one of these books, you start to dive into something. You start to understand something. You start to weave yourself into a very intricate place. And then there's nobody to talk to. There's just, look at this book. We're lucky, right? We have this on the stage. We have, this is actually one book, which is also written by our hero here, Jason Kappa. And it's 2,200 pages. And just one paragraph of this book, if you examine it, if you look at it, you might get some kind of insight or some kind of idea that there's not one person on the planet who read that particular, section. I'll do it for you, watch. This is Jason Kappa, by the way. Let me see. Volume 204. I'll do volume 3 so you really blow your mind. Okay, volume 3. Here we're into the 6th chapter. Let's see what we get. We also see, it's okay if I read to you, oh shoot. Wasn't meant to be. Well, I'll tell you what it says. It says, we also see lines in Sutra that say changing things don't exist. We also see lines in Sutra that say changing things don't exist. So now you can go back to work next week, and you can say, yeah, the Buddha sometimes would say that things that change, that's bullshit. There's no such thing as anything that changes. And sorry, I could have gone further, but I lost a page. I think that's enough to give you an idea. You don't understand probably what he's talking about. He's going to explain it, but then you probably won't right away understand that. But then one day, or in one session, you might get an insight, but you won't be able to easily tell your family or friends about it. And this is a whole book like that. Actually, for one book, this is 1/4 of such a thing. And so I think it's a wonderful exercise for us during this is your homework assignment, right? It's nothing to write down, but maybe you can meet up with someone and say, how do you feel being here in Malaysia? How do you came here because you're a student of these ideas, and what's going to happen to us? We're going to get a major transmission, right? Download of incredible ideas, and then it'll just be me and you. We have no one to talk to about these things. We have no one who will understand that, changing things are BS, and what that could possibly mean. We're studying, are you guys Am I losing you, or are you you're with me? Okay. So I'll go a little deeper. Is it okay? We were in the we were studying the Vinaya vows. There's a class that we're doing to translate the ethical teachings, how to behave properly if you're a monk or a nun. But obviously it applies to our own life, how to codes of behavior that are very precise and supposedly very much enlightened. And so we were studying this book, and it says there's a problem when you create what we call a schism in a spiritual community, where you create some kind of argument between two people, and then it expands to two groups of people, and then slowly you divide the community, and they fight with each other, and then that weakens the whole, it hurts the ability for the world to benefit. It hurts everybody in the world when the spiritual people who are supposed to be helping everyone, when they start arguing amongst themselves and they cannot resolve it. So it's a big deal. It's a major, it's worse than, it could be worse than killing a person, let's say, to create such a division among spiritual friends. So anyway, you would think that, that type of behavior would be like spreading rumors or, criticizing someone's viewpoints. I don't know how to say it, but anyway, you can imagine how a schism could be created in a spiritual community. But these holy, beautiful, ancient books, they always never give you what you think they are going to say. They never, ever tell you what you expect. So in this particular vow, it's actually that there's two people, and they are arguing whether things are changing or they're unchanging. They're arguing whether things that function, things that do something. We're really deep, okay? Don't tell anybody that we went here. I'll take you back soon. Okay, just stay with me. They're having an argument. Two people in the spiritual community are debating each other about whether something that does something, like a pen, like your car, like your husband or wife, things that do something, whether they change or whether they never change. They're having this argument. And you break the vow when you don't come to a conclusion and you just will not give it up. You just keep arguing over and over again. Mike, you believe that things change. Anatole, you say they don't change. And somehow I keep bothering Mike, even though he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, just kidding. I keep bothering him that things are unchanging, functioning things that do something never change. And he's like, Anatole, man, you're crazy. Things that do something, in order to do something, they have to change. They have to give something. They have to lose something. They have to exchange energy in order to affect another thing. To do that, they have to change. And then Mike's telling me this, and I keep thumbing my nose at him, and I say, no, things that do something cannot change. They could never change. And of course, I sound like the crazy one, and he sounds like the reasonable one. But I'm reading from Sutra. This is Buddha saying the same thing. So I have a good position. I'm not crazy necessarily, but I just won't stop it. he would like to hold on to the idea that when something does something, it changes. He would like to live his life in that way. He wants to go to work. He wants to send an email. He wants the email to change somebody's mind. He's invested in this idea, and I keep bothering him saying, things that do something don't change. Well, who's right? It's funny, both are right. For a certain kind of audience, Buddha didn't say this. For a certain kind of audience, he said, my goodness, what Buddha ever came and said, things don't change. I'm going to teach impermanence. Things do change. That's also the Buddha. Everything changes. And at the same time, I just read it to you. I don't know if you believe me because I closed the page. But you look it up one day. But he also said that things never change. Okay, so both are correct. Both fit a certain context. Both fit a certain kind of audience. And if we argue about it, I could hurt him with my viewpoints, and he could hurt other people. And if he argues with me, if my viewpoint is a kind of ladder to a higher place, then he's criticizing me, and he's hurting my ability to help certain people. So anyway, you wouldn't have thought, right? Creating a schism could be from arguing constantly about whether things that do something change or not. Okay, anyway, that's Tsongkhapa. And that's going to be, how to say, so our assignment in this class, your homework assignment, is to find a friend and try to imagine what it would be like to have an extremely profound understanding of how everything works, of how to be successful, of how to achieve any goal that you want, to totally understand that that field of human endeavor, right? There's a field called success. We teach it in the Diamond Cutter Institute, global, right? The big thing is success. And then a lot of spiritual people, they say, oh, you're teaching success. Like, like that's so, like, not, elevated, how to be successful. And you say, well, you're a Buddhist, right? Yeah, I'm a Buddhist. So you're into Siddhartha, right? The Buddha was called Siddhartha when he was a prince. His name was Siddhartha. Yeah, Siddhartha, I know about him. Okay, so Siddhartha means Mr. Success. Okay, Mr. Success achieves his goal. So anyway, success is a wonderful goal. It means finally, whatever you do, whatever you want to do, doesn't matter what, you can actually pull it off successfully. Okay, so what would it be like to be that person, to have the key to success, anything you want, anything you would like to achieve in your life, in your finances, in your meditation, in your spirituality, whatever it might be? What would it feel like to know exactly how to achieve that? And then realize that nobody understands what you understand. And so I think this is a wonderful thing to get together and talk about. And you can share your own experiences of how frustrating your life is since you met these ideas, since you met these teachings. You can kind of commiserate together about how nobody understands you, and why am I encouraging you to do this? I got in a very lucky situation recently. I was living in Mexico, and I only have access to see my teacher once a year, basically. And so I started to hope that I could see him more often. And so I started planning my seats. And I'm happy to say that last year, exactly 1 year ago, I came to visit Arizona with my family, and we came in 3 backpacks, and we decided to stay. Just put the backpack down, and found a place for it, and that was it. And so lately, I've been very lucky to have the privilege of being in many meetings, because I'm just around the corner, so maybe he feels bad to not let me just I'm around the corner from the cafe, the Peachtree Cafe, where we have a lot of meetings with Geshe Michael. So anyway, there's 2 things I would like to give you from the first, how to say, you're paying me, right? You're not paying me, but my job is to give you in 1 hour the whole, I think it was like 5 days, or I'm giving you the whole 10 hours in 1 hour, okay? And what I would like you to come away with is 2 things. One is that so you started to learn these ideas. I never go directly, by the way, so let me go on this side. You started to learn about these ideas. You got a feeling like you could help people. And you started to have a dream even of high goals, like you could help people not just be, you can help people make money by paying them, by making a company. We human beings have many ways to help people. But when you started to hear these ideas, you started to have a feeling like you could really help people on deeper levels. You could help them in their relationships, in their families, in their happiness, which is complex. You started to feel like you could help people. And then, it has to be said that everything in our life is coming from how we treat other people. And therefore, even what Siddhartha was aiming to figure out, which is, why do we get sick? Why do we age? And why do we die? You could figure that out too, and you could help people. So it comes down to keeping that goal in your heart. You came to these ideas, you got excited because you had a new way to make money, or you had a new way to make friends, or you had a new way to live your life in a more peaceful or more a deeper way. But the big carrot that, in this system that all the teachers have been hanging in front of you is that you could stop death. That's, even Geshe Michael's talking about it, right? He's like, I'm going to die. And we're all thinking, can I stop it? I mean, that's what we're thinking. The whole room is thinking the same thing. And that's the big carrot, like, can you stop death? So if we think about it, if we put 2 and 2 together, then you have someone who says, I cannot easily tell you what my life is, what I've understood, the way I walk around the world, what I see. It's not easy for me to just in one, I wish I could tell you in 5 minutes exactly how to save the world. I wish I could tell you, but I just cannot. I spend the mornings with these books. I translate them for 15,000 hours. So that's some determination, right? Because I'm trying to find a way to approach each person in the way that they need in order to help them. So you have a person who has this desire. We can see the desire, right? It's in a physical form. The desire is, one example is here. There's definitely a desire to help us, to transmit these ideas. And yet, if we don't receive them, if we can't show up for them, if we see them but we don't investigate them, if we hear them but we don't talk to each other about them, if we learn them but we don't repeat them again in our minds over and over, then the teacher cannot easily help us. I'm the first person to say that whatever Geshe Michael says, whatever he sends me in an email, whatever he writes, I'm the first person to say, it seems like I just don't care. I don't read it. I don't take the time. He says, I spent 4 hours translating this morning. I said, oh yeah, when I have the time, Geshe-la, I'll take a look, and at the same time, I will turn around and tell my friend, there's a way to stop death. There's a way to overcome all your problems. There's a way to be successful at everything. And yet, I don't actually know the whole deal, the whole story. There's someone who does. They're trying to tell me constantly, and I just can't have the time to receive it so I can give it. So we all face this situation because Geshe Michael is, and all the teachers of thousands of years now, they are prolific. They constantly produce material. I have tried on certain days to receive what Geshe-la is trying to give me. I will read those. Some of you may know that there's a chance to sign up for a daily email. Then you can get every single day you can receive about 8 or 10 pages of translation, fresh from the morning's work, as though you were Geshe Michael's boss, okay? Like, your boss always wants to see what work you do, right? Well, you are Geshe Michael's boss, and he is every day producing more, he's helping. And then I've tried before to read those things, and all that happens is it just takes a whole day. If I start thinking about what he translated, if I start thinking about what the Buddha said, that there's no such things as something that changes, that's all BS. If I start thinking about that, if I start studying it, I don't have time to eat, to brush, to shower, to comb my hair, which probably you noticed. I didn't have time today. I won't have time for that. There's no time. And even if I tried the whole day, there wouldn't be enough. So what he says to me, to all of us, is just relax. I just read one line, just think about it for 5 minutes, go to sleep. It's fine. You don't have to do everything in one day. But we do, I believe, and he didn't say this is me adding to the course, but I believe that we should, I think if you read between the lines of what he's saying, which is, I guess, my job, is that he is saying, like, I know something that you don't know, that nobody knows, that could help you because you want to help other people. So we really do need to stay connected to him as much as we can, or as steadily as we can. I would not say to overdo it. You have to take care of your children. You have to take care of your pets. My cat, I'm going to dedicate this class to my cat because he had to go to the ER today, emergency room, and he's okay. He started eating again, but the vet said that if he will not eat one more day, he could die. So we're very lucky. I told Geshe Michael that my cat is sick, and he said, I'll make a prayer, and then immediately, like 10 minutes later, my wife sends a message and says, the cat is eating. So that's good. Before I left on this trip, this is the first time that I've been away from my wife and my wife for one night. This is the first trip I've taken to be away from her in almost 12 years. So, true story. But anyway, when I left, I came to his house and he said, I have something for you. Take it. And he hands me an envelope for $1,200. And it's written on there, Aisha, which is my wife's name, emergency money. So he said, when I leave my wife, I always leave her some emergency cash. So, you should do the same. So it turns out that the vet costs $1,160 plus gas, so. And that's really not the best thing that Geshe Michael can do for us, predict that our cat is going to get sick or something. That is wonderful. It is really special. But honestly, every day what he sends to us in an email or something like that, these are probably far more valuable, and we all can receive those blessings. The other thing I'm supposed to transmit to you, if I can see that photo again of my brother, can you guys project the other thing I'm supposed to transmit to you is this idea that you just don't know. You don't know if Geshe Michael saw emptiness directly or not. You just can't say. And the fact that you don't know if he did, and you don't know if he didn't. Can you guys put the photo up, too? Yeah. Let's think about it, right? You don't know if Geshe Michael saw emptiness directly. You can't prove it. There's no way you can prove it until you see it yourself. So we cannot prove it, and you can't prove the opposite. My brother looks like Tsongkhapa, and I can't be sure if he's not. I can't be sure if I was born very lucky. Sorry, I have to back up a second, because I remember the first time I met Tsongkhapa, I was not very appreciative. I was in New York, and I wanted to study healing, like as Victoria mentioned. I was into healing arts, or the idea of healing. And so I saw a poster for Medicine Buddha, empowerment. And so I went to the empowerment, and it was very nice. And what I remember was the teacher said, you might know him. His name is Kadam Morton. anyway, the teacher is a Westerner and very nice man. And he runs a major Dharma center in New York. And I got up to him to get the empowerment, and he says, don't worry about anything. Just for like 10 seconds, you have to imagine that I'm actually the Buddha. And I said, I can do it. And he said, great. And then he didn't whack me, but he did the thing. And then I thought that was it. Now I can go heal people because I did what he said, and I imagined that he was the Buddha as well as I could. I mean, he didn't look like the one I knew about, but anyway, it was fine. But then they sent me home with this daily practice, sadhana, and I had to read it every day, and that was a requirement. So I go home and I open it up, and it's like, oh, I bow to you, Tsongkhapa. And I was like, who's this guy? First of all, I just wanted to be able to heal people. Then I met Medicine Buddha. I didn't know who that was. That was like a new thing for me. But I was okay with it because at least it said Buddha. He was blue and everything, but that was all right. And then I meet this guy, basically, that I didn't know who he was. And he's like, I'm the Buddha. And I said, that's all right. 10 seconds, I can do that. And now every day I have to, pray to this guy. I can barely pronounce his name, Tsongkhapa. Who the heck is this? And I was quite skeptical, but I did it because I was also superstitious that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be able to heal anybody. So, I'm every day, Tsongkhapa, I love you, you're great. And then, do the sadhana. And little did I know who he was and how he would be affecting my life 20-something years later. I had no idea. And now I think it's the coolest thing I ever did was to pray to him when I didn't know anything. So anyway, we really don't know who he is. They say that he was the emanation of the sort of like the primordial wisdom of all the Buddhas. So he's like he embodies all the wisdom of the Buddhas. He's a Buddha himself. Manjushri, the Buddha of wisdom, gentle voice. So anyway, here I am telling you all these names that you probably may or may not have heard of. I have now Tsongkhapa, Vaishajya Guru, Medicine Buddha. Then you have Manjushri. And you may feel like it's a little overwhelming to take all these people into your living room or into your life. But the main thing to know is that we may be able to learn something from him. We may be able to learn quite a lot from him. And we have to stay open. We have to stay alert. Maybe this applies to us. When I was young, I studied martial arts. Starting when I was 10 years old, I had to do about 8 hours of practice every week. So I did many, many, many years. That was a big part of my life. And in that system, we learned how to, not get beat up. And the main thing was not about fighting. That wasn't really the main. That was the last resort, So the system, we had a big manual, looked like a DCI manual, and in there it would tell you how to, not get into trouble. So there were the 5 A's. Let me see if I can remember. 40 years later, the first one is to be aware. Awareness. Try to look around the room, see if there's any danger. I'm telling you how not to get attacked, right? Okay, so the first thing, this might be helpful. If nothing else is helpful, you'll leave this class more safe. Okay, so the first A, 5 A's. Don't tell Tim I taught you the 5 A's from martial arts class. First A, awareness, be aware. If something seems weird, be alert. So first you're just aware, look around, relax, but look around. See if there's maybe any realized beings that might be here. Be aware. Second one, if your antenna starts to tingle, then alert. Be alert. The third one, avoidance. If you detect that something is going on, like dangerous in this metaphor, if you find something's going on, then my teacher taught me, he said, I was walking down the street and I noticed someone from far away. He looked big enough to knock me down. For me, it's not that hard, but anyway, he looked big enough to knock me down, so I was aware. Then when I got closer, he looked like he wasn't very friendly, so I got alert. And then as I got even closer, I felt something funny, so I just got to the other side of the street. I changed sidewalks, and I went over here. Well, the guy crossed sidewalks also. And so he said, well, that's interesting. So he crossed again, the other sidewalk, back, and he got closer and he crossed again. And then my teacher said, well, I've been practicing avoidance, so I just crossed again, and again, and again. And finally, the guy knew I was too much trouble. I was too aware, I was too alert, I was too trained to avoid. And so he just got tired of crossing the street and he left me alone. But it did seem like a dangerous situation. Then the next one is, if something is about to happen and you haven't crossed the stage where you can avoid, then you have to anticipate a situation, and then you have, if you, at that point, if you cannot avoid the situation by anticipating it, then only at that point do you take some kind of action. So that's what we learned here. So in our case, it would be something kind of the opposite, right? So you are aware if there's a possibility that there's somebody in this room who you don't know if they are special, you don't know if they are an angel came to help you, and you don't know if they're not. You just don't know. You don't know if there's somebody here who could, I'm not saying mug you or attack you. This is the opposite, right? We're talking about the opposite idea. I don't know if there's somebody here who could help me. I really don't know. I can't say for sure. Even this person who seems kind of aggressive or not very friendly, but maybe they could help me. I really don't know if they could help me or if they don't have that ability. So I have to be aware of the fact that I don't know, and there's a possibility that they did come to help me. Like my brother, for example. Secondly, if I'm aware that there is such a person, then the thing here is that we have to acknowledge and admit that we are totally in the dark about the people who might be able to help us, who might be trying to help us. So in this case, you would start to be alert to that idea. Because to tell you the truth, it doesn't really hurt you to be suspicious of the person sitting next to you, that they might be an enlightened being already, right? It doesn't cost you anything. It just makes you forget your problems, which is fun, I can tell you. It's a blast. Forget your problems and think the person next to you already has everything covered. Anyway, so you and I could start to be aware that there could be Aryas, realized beings sitting next to us. It could be, we don't know either way. We don't know if Geshe Michael is one, and we don't know if he's not. We don't know if the person sitting next to you is one, or if they're not. Then you turn on your antenna, and you start to think, well, I don't have proof that they're not. And it's boring to think that they're not. And it's excuse my French, but it's titillating to think that they are. It's exciting. It gives you you feel, woo, maybe they are an enlightened being. So that doesn't cost, I'm not charging you yet, right? This is all for free. You're sitting next to someone, you start thinking that maybe they could help you. You start thinking that it's likely, there's a good chance, it's possible. What's the next A? Anybody remember? Let me check your martial arts IQ. Avoidance. Oh, now we're talking anti-avoidance. Because we're doing the opposite of, we're not talking about people that's going to attack us. So instead of avoiding the idea that the person next to you could be here to help you, you're actually going to invite the idea because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You're going through stages. You're starting to invite the idea, I'm starting to invite the idea that the people around me are special, that they came to help me. What's the next one? Anticipation. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This person is about to tell me something, you know. They're about to change my life. They're about to mention some, I've tried to practice before. I will say, the person sitting next to me, the next thing they do is a message for me, and then they'll just cough. And then I have to work on it. I have to anticipate, I have to think, what's next? Okay, they coughed. Okay, so now I'm taking this random, cough, and I have to, it's just like Tsongkhapa. When I first heard the word Tsongkhapa, I thought nothing of it. I thought less than nothing of it. I was a little, upset about it. But if I had been in this mood, I would think, I have to see Tsongkhapa as maybe the Buddha. Who knows? You see, so now you're anticipating that the person next to you is going to give you some message that will change your life. What's the last one? Yeah. When you meet an enlightened being, what do you do? You pay. If you want something from somebody else, you have to pay them. When we grow up, we realize this is the case. If you want something, you have to pay for it. There has to be an exchange. When you meet an enlightened being, you have to pay. You have to pay them. Pay attention. Okay? You have to pay attention. Later, you'll learn some advanced ideas. You may increase your ability to pay attention. I don't know, if I think Mike's an enlightened being, and then I give him a diamond necklace, it helps me to focus more on Mike. How did he handle the diamond? How does he feel about my offering? So we can talk about it in the future, but there's ways to pay. But the basic idea is that if somebody's here to help you, all you really have to do is prepare yourself to pay attention. So, So Geshe Michael said that's the essence of Diamond Way. The essence of Diamond Way is that you don't know. You just don't know. If you can walk around your life with this kind of, you use your own experiences. I use my 5 A's from when I was 10 years old. You have your own thing. But I guess it's helpful for me, right? You have to find a way to realize, you have to work on realizing that you don't know who's who. You don't know what's what and who's who. And if you can walk through your life like that, you have already, if you can achieve that, you've mastered half of Diamond Way. Okay? You've mastered half of why we're here. Today, Geshe Michael said, what happens if we all become Aryas? What happens at that point? Anybody remember? It was cool. Anybody remember? At the very end of the class, he said, or almost the end, he said, what happens if if I help you all to become Aryas, to become realized beings, to see emptiness? What's that? We help people. Yeah, of course, but what did he say? Anybody? Audio? A microphone? Maybe you have some, a guess? Yeah.
I'm not sure if this was Geshe Michael or if Tim said it, but it goes from a world where we compete for resources to a world where we work together for resources. That was Tim.
Where's my money? I don't have any. I need $100. No. What he said was, if we all become Aryas, then we're going to start a lot of diamond companies. Right? Yeah. And you think it's funny. I mean, you may think it's funny. And it might be so much more significant than any of us could ever imagine. Nobody understands what he's talking about when he says, oh, Warren Buffett will help us make diamond companies, ha ha ha. You know, we don't really know what he thinks from behind the face. And that's Diamond Way. We're all going to start diamond companies. If you train yourself, if we train ourselves in Diamond Way, we walk out of the class with some feeling that our whole life is going, I didn't know I was going to start a diamond company. I was not planning on it. But now I know. Now, small town, that's my bio, right? I come from a small town. So small town Anatole, grew up in the what do you call it, boondocks. I'm going to start a diamond company. I'm going to spread diamonds all over the world. Physical. You don't have a plan like that. Me and you don't have we have a plan I have a plan to edit books. You have a plan to do your job. We all have a certain plan. And he said, no, you're going to become an Arya, and then you're going to work for the diamond business. You're going to be in the diamond mafia. No, diamonds. And then you have to cook it. You have to think about it. Maybe it's deadly serious. That's what we're trying to shift. You have to shift if you want to be on this program. You want to. Geshe Michael says you can see emptiness in 2 years. Then we certainly have to shift, and we have to reach a place where when you hear that you're going to be in the diamond business in 2 years, you have to start adjusting yourself, getting used to the idea, and start imagining, allowing yourself to imagine what in the world he's talking about, what your life is going to become, and dream. And if you can make that shift now, soon, today, here in this retreat, then we've really achieved the first bridge to the diamond way. Okay? Then you have really completed and actually he said that if you leave today, then you get that's okay. You understand everything you need to know. This is all you need to know. You have to make a shift in your life at some point in your life. I studied Diamond Way was 20 years ago. We started it. And I don't know if I'm ready to make the shift. I don't know if I'm ready to see my brother, who also gives me a hard time. I don't know if I'm ready to see him as Tsongkhapa. But it's possible, right? Because before I wasn't ready to see Tsongkhapa as Manjushri. I wasn't ready for this. But gradually, I'm ready to see that J. Tsongkhapa, who wrote these 4 volumes and much, much more, I'm ready now. 20 years later, I'm ready to see that I could have his books in detail on my nightstand, and I could be reading them. I'm ready to see that. If I could kind of speed up the process, especially in the next 2 years, and I could be ready to see that I don't know if my brother is Manjushri, if my brother is Tsongkhapa, if I could be ready to do that, then that would be wonderful. I'm not ready. I'm not going to call my brother today and say, all those difficult things you put me through, like, I know you were trying to help me. I can say it, I can call him, but deep in my heart, I have not meditated on it enough yet. I have to work on it. I can tell you that it could take more than 20 years, to be ready, to be a real master of seeing the world as pure, to be a real master of seeing the person next to you as what they could be. And so the stakes are high, and my feeling from Geshe Michael is, get your butt in gear, get going. If you have a problem with the person next to you, if you somehow can't see them as somebody special, I'm sorry, but you won't qualify. You won't be able to get on board. You won't get the thing about the diamond company. You just missed the whole class. And yoga, last thing, for me it's fascinating, but yoga supports the same idea. In yoga, you have to move the prana up the central channel and pierce through these knots, they call chakras. We're not giving that talk today, but anyway, there's these knots in your body. They block you from being happy. They block you from being able to help other people. And you have to pierce them. You have to get past them. You have to get the energy, the prana, the chi, past these areas. But if you cannot see the people around you as enlightened, if you are jealous of them in any small way at all, forget it. You will not be able to join this particular club. You might as well retire and, call it a good run. So I hope we all try. Thank you very much for coming today, and
Thank you, Anatole. Thank you. Let's applaud Anatole for this amazing class. Great teacher, great practitioner, amazing yoga teacher, actually. He didn't mention about that. Thank you, Anatole, from the deep of our heart. So we just say you bye for now, and see you in the next class. We hope so. You will be back, right? Thank you. Let's just give applause to our amazing teacher. Thank you.
下一堂课仍然是由我们的安娜塔老师为大家教授。
And my name is Victoria.
我的名字是白雪。
This is Vivian. And so we are going to navigate you through all these classes and help you to know the timing and to know when you need to come back, when you need to go. So this is now very important information we would like to share with you.
我们是大家在这个会场的主持人，我们会确保大家知道 课程进展的流程、内容、时间安排，确保大家能够顺利地完成这几天课程的学习。
But first of all, we need to say our online participant bye.